Hey everyone. Today, me and Tete are going to be talking about my newest webtoon, The Shadow Self, which you can check out on Webtoon, and it will eventually be on Tapas. So check out the link in the description to where you can read it right now on Webtoon. Okay, so The Shadow Self is something I did for Webtoon's 2022 Call to Action contest, which is where we have to draw an action scene involving two or more people for at least 60 panels. So I decided to talk about Joel fighting against himself, or a shadow version of himself, which is, the personification of all of his negative traits, especially his self-denial, his spite, his anger, and his desire to be free from these oppressive feelings, as he calls them, like love.
Yes, exactly. This has been a remarkable achievement of yours, and it's just fascinating that you finally have submitted it to Webtoon, and it's just been it's been an amazing story.
Yes, especially since, I started in April, and back then I was just doing one sketch a day. So it was just these pencil sketches, which in retrospect were kind of a waste of time. I could have just directly started drawing digitally. But, back then I was like, hey, I think I need to draw things traditionally before I edit them digitally. But later on, as covered in that webtoon lesson video I made, link in the description below, I learned that, I can just draw from scratch using a digital tablet. There's no need to draw it in pencil first and then scan it and then refine it to make it look digital. Before, I thought I had to do that. And that was the process I did for my other webtoons, like, and my other Tapas comics, like Sam in New York and The Book of Joel. But now I've just shifted entirely for those as well, not just the Shadow Self, all of them. Now I just draw everything from scratch digitally, and that actually saves a lot of time and actually makes the artwork look smoother. What do you think, Tete? Did you see any difference between how I used to draw, especially in the Finding Sam days where I barely refined the art digitally, but now I just draw everything digitally?
I definitely see a marked refinement, and it looks much smoother. The lines are crisper, clearer. Even the shading looks more consistent and more well blended. So, this is definitely a step in the right direction, and it's just shown an overall great improvement with the art. So, it's very good that you decided to switch entirely over to creating your art digitally, as opposed to going through the process of traditional sketch and then, you know, uh, refining it digitally, because now it looks so much better. It really, really does.
Yes, and it's a lot less time consuming too, and a lot less stressful, especially since I was worried I would have to take all of July to finish this. But it turned out I managed to finish the Shadow Self entirely in June, even though I got pretty sick throughout June with this really strange condition. I don't even know what it is, but I just couldn't sleep for some reason, and that really caused me to be extremely tired for at least 2 weeks. But even though this was happening, um, I still managed to churn out 2 panels a day or a page a day. And eventually I submitted this. I think I forgot when, but it was like, I think June 21st or 20th. Yeah. Because I'm looking at the comments.
I believe it
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
yes. I think this was definitely the right choice to make, because like I said, the artwork definitely looks more refined, very smooth, very crisp, very professional. And even the blending and coloration look far better. There's more blending. It doesn't look as, how do I say, divided, so to speak. Not that it was divided, but when you try to transfer traditional onto digital, I mean, you can kind of see where there's more delineations, and it makes it more choppier in a way.
True. But back then, people were saying, I really like how your style, blends both traditional with digital. But then, I guess it doesn't really matter anymore because it was just wasting too much time. It was just making it hard for me to keep on working on so many things at the same time. The shadow self, my buffers, and all the other art I'm doing, like the tarot series.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people who do not do traditional or digital both together, maybe don't understand the logistics, the difficulties. But also too, I think a lot of people want to try to blend both, but honestly, some people can do that, but honestly, if you can choose one or the other, it's better to do that because just focusing on one medium creates more consistency and a more smoother look,
Mhm.
whatever medium you choose to go with.
Right. And I also learned the importance of discipline during the shadow self. I mean, I've always been very disciplined after finding Sam because before finding Sam, I was just terrible. And, I did try to make some comics before that, but I gave up after page 2 or page 10 or something. I never really had a concrete story either back then. But I mean, after finding Sam, and especially after starting Sam New York, which by the way has been updated weekly since August 2020. So it's almost the second anniversary. Um, yeah, I can't believe it,
That's
but it's that. I mean, I've been able to keep up the buffer for nearly 2 years. That's something I would have never imagined back in 2019.
that is a remarkable achievement. I mean, this special anniversary, we must uncork non-alcoholic champagnes. We are not demonetized.
Absolutely, yes. But
Yeah.
yeah, I really learned how to be even more disciplined. So even if I'm feeling like I'm going to fall asleep, I need to at least do one thing. Even if I can't finish 2 panels, I'll do the line art for one panel or one and a half panels.
Exactly, exactly. I with discipline requires a course of action that it must be taken consistently, and you've applied yourself very well to that, and I think you've imparted that to different creators, including myself, to even if it's a small thing, do it every day because every day there must be something produced. Even if it's, you think, oh, I have a headache, or oh, I'm tired, or I can't take it anymore. I don't want to do anything. Nothing. But you have to do something, even if it's a very small mite thing, because that's at least one more pebble in the building of the mountain, so to speak.
Absolutely, right. So yeah,
Yeah,
even if it's something minor, that's something you need to think about. What can you
exactly.
do that day? Yeah.
Exactly. What can anything, even if it's like you said, line art for a panel and a half, or say people who out there write, even if you can do 120 words or 300 words, at least that's something. And it's just not zero count for you that day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So, how did you feel like when you were watching me develop the shadow self? What were your thoughts about the story and did the ending surprise you because some of the stuff was changed from the original idea?
I so as I watched you develop more of the story, I loved how it took fruition. I loved how it formed itself and how it, like your art, it refined itself. I remember some of the concepts were changed, um, and I think they were very much changed for the better. I really liked the increased struggle between Joel and the shadow self. I also like the fact that despite the conflict, there is some sort of strange reconciliation between Joel and the shadow self to a degree, because Joel is accepting that the shadow self is part of himself. But as we've explored in, say, Jungian psychology, it's one thing to accept, it's another thing to let it control and dominate, every aspect of your life. It's a thing of, it's part of the personality, but it a personality should not control every aspect of one's life. That's why we have discipline and thoughts and a stronger sense of self to override that, because I think there is a schism, maybe not a schism, but a division between personality and sense of self.
I think so. You're right.
Yeah,
Right.
a lot of people tend to think it's holistic, but I don't think it's holistic, to be honest.
Mhm. So do you think Joel is the sense of self and the shadow self is the personality, or is there no clear delineation as you said?
I think Joel is the sense of self. I do think the shadow is the personality, but I think sometimes people, need to have that kind of reconciliation that it is part of you. It is who, because the personality is sort of what defines or communicates our self to people and ourselves. But the personality is not necessarily the sense of self, because the sense of self, it governs the moral and ethic part of the mind, while a personality does not have that. Personality is
Mhm.
simply a collection of emotions and inclinations.
Great points. But
Yeah.
yes, how did the ending surprise you? Did the end product surprise you? How did it match up to your original expectations?
My original expectations were high, and this definitely met my expectations. I did love the originality of it. I wasn't sure how per se it was going to end. Um, I mean, you were, letting me know about different things, but I was really I was really delighted by the end of this. I really was. I felt like it was a satisfying conclusion, and like I said, there is this subtle indirect reconciliation between Joel and the shadow self that I really enjoyed watching, because a lot of times in more conventional storytelling, we have this archetypal structure where, oh, it must be defeated or it must be got rid of. But
Mhm.
this is more refreshing to see because it's far more realistic and healthy.
That's right. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much. This was a really refreshing analysis of this comic and the creation process, and I can't wait to release this on Tapas. I think it will be out maybe September or October after the results of the contest come out on Webtoon.
That is fantastic. So myself and others are eagerly anticipating to see this on Tapas and comment on it.
Right. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.